What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Dan Reacts. I'm Dan. This is my reaction channel. I am here with the one and only Addie for the final episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
We really milked this supposed 10 to 15 minute break. We milked it to about 2 hours because
Yeah, it was a long break.
we just were not ready to fully end this yet. And I think we stood in my kitchen just taking shots, reminiscing on
just talking
the
about Game
year
of Thrones
and just what this channel has meant to us. And
you guys have no idea. Like, this has been the ride of a lifetime. I feel like once you commit to it, these characters' stories they ebb and they flow, and at one point you've hated everybody, you've loved everybody, and it's such a journey that I can honestly say no other show I've ever watched has brought me on such a journey. It's so cool. It's the best show. I mean, I love it. It is kind of sad to be like, I'm not gonna get a text from you again about, like, should I put Jon in the thumbnail or should I put Cersei in the thumbnail? Like, which was the better scene? What do you think? Like, that these characters are gonna be gone.
And taking every single scene, because every scene, because it's the last episode,
one step closer.
It's like the last time you'll see this character.
Yes.
The last time you'll hear
And I said this right
character.
after we finished the last video, but it felt very like graduation. Like when you graduate college or when you graduate high school and you're like, I've been through so much with these people, and realistically, I'm not gonna see you guys anymore. There's no reason why I would see you guys anymore, but you've still been a part of my life for my whole life. So it's giving the same kind of emotion for me where I'm like, I love these characters so much, and I'm so sad to know that, like, whatever happens in this episode is
the end.
It. And for a lot of characters, they've already met their end. Whoever dies and whoever wins at the end of this episode
That's it.
That's the story, and I don't want it to end. I'm so sad.
Well, let's do one final
Where's my, do I have, oh.
Pre-Game of Thrones cheer to the last episode of the last season.
I think you should trade me.
Okay.
Because this actually has wine in it.
And now our watch is ending.
I'm gonna cry. I'm for real gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry this entire episode.
This is so sad.
Alright, guys, well, we just want to, before we start, I just want to give you guys a huge thank you for being on this journey with us and being so involved. You guys make the journey 10 times more enhanced because we go through it together in one weekend, but then we get to relive it through you guys.
As much as you guys are reliving watching Game of Thrones by watching me watch Game of Thrones, I get to indulge in this experience by seeing what everybody has to say about it. Good or bad, whether you liked it or didn't like it. I get to extend my experience by what everybody else is thinking and saying on the channel. So, like, it's 100 different ways, this experience wouldn't be what it was without all of our friends.
All of our friends. Well, with that being said, let's get right into it. Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 6, The Iron Throne. I've done this completed journey with like 6 other people, and I still had my moments where I would be like, are we gonna complete this?
Are we gonna get there?
Are we gonna actually get there? Are we gonna finish this show? Like, even though I finished the show many times before, because of the level of effort that we put into this, I would sit there and be like, is this gonna work out? Is this gonna be what I want it to be? And it was. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
I'm so happy. This has been just something else. George R.R. Martin,
the creator.
thank you so much for this. Oh, God.
That's horrific.
Like a zombie, but he's alive.
You're just so fucked up that you don't even know what's going on. You're just walking.
Everything just ended for you. And it looks like snow, but it's not. It's ash. I mean, how does she even explain this to her people?
I sentence you to die. Graver!
Look around you, friend. We won.
I obey my queen's commands, not yours.
Easy, man. Easy. You should speak with the queen.
I do understand Grey Worm, because it's like, what does he care?
He's pissed, yeah. And he is intently loyal to Danny. I don't blame him for what he's doing. It's just sad. It's insane how many times they've walked through these rooms.
As an actor, it's probably really surreal to walk through the set one last time and it's all destroyed.
I mean, how many times have we seen Tyrion in this room?
How heartbreaking for him too to know that they tried. Like, oh, they actually tried to leave.
They were following the plan, yeah. And he has to feel at this point like, I killed my whole family.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What a shot.
Shafka Adrevistos ke anima hogegeron shike timori. In Batolvio viho beoldi darven.
Freed the people of King's Landing. They're all dead.
Tolvrio pregerlat. En winter velva dornot. Breve in noma pregerlat.
I mean, I just don't know how liberating people means killing everyone. There's nobody here. It's just them. Yeah, you're all liberated, but nobody here lived.
You freed your brother. You committed treason.
And you slaughtered a city.
Oh, shit.
Zirine Jakatas.
Hey, what happened?
Yeah, you know what happened.
Wait for me outside the city gates. I'll come find you.
John, you'll always be a threat to her. And I know a killer when I see one.
She's not wrong.
Thank you for coming to see me. Our queen doesn't keep prisoners for long. I chose my fate. The people of King's Landing did not. Our queen's nature is fire and blood. Everywhere she goes, evil men die, and we cheer her for it. She believes her destiny is to build a better world for everyone. I know you love her.
Love is the death of duty.
Oh.
Sometimes duty is the death of love. It's a terrible thing I'm asking. It's also the right thing.
I'm sorry it came to this.
Come on, John. This is not right.
And your sisters. Do you see them bending the knee? She doesn't want Danny to be queen.
She doesn't get to choose.
No. But you do.
It's so crazy to me that this is like the imagery is snow, but this is ash.
Mm-hmm. Remember the vision she had in season 2?
I was just about to say that.
Where there was snow?
Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy because at that time I was like, winter.
When I was a girl, my brother told me it was made with 1,000 swords from Aegon's fallen enemies. So many fallen enemies, you could only see the soles of Aegon's feet.
I saw them executing Lannister prisoners in the street.
Oh.
Have you been down there? Have you seen children, little children burned?
It's not easy to see something that's never been before.
How do you know it'll be good?
Because I know what is good.
You're a tyrant then.
This is our reason. We do it together. We break the wheel together.
She believes it so much. Oh, oh. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Drogon said, fuck the Iron
Nobody's
Throne.
going to ever sit on this ever again.
R.I.P. Daenerys Targaryen,
Targaryen.
Mother of Dragons. What a great 20 minutes.
Wonder what's going to happen next. They don't even know this has happened. Oh my god. Look at all them. They all got here. Yara? Oh my god, the whole gang is here.
This is our city now.
Some of you may be quick to forgive. The Ironborn are not. Let the Unsullied give him what he deserves.
Say another word about killing my brother and I'll cut your throat.
Ladies, we don't need you guys
Okay,
fighting.
so they do know that some time has passed, okay?
Yeah, it's one of those, like, you're supposed to figure it out on your own,
Yeah, I
but
got it.
Tyrion's facial hair is supposed to give you that.
Yeah, I got it.
We need to find a better way.
We do not need payment. We need justice.
You're serving a queen who's dead. Who's your leader?
John committed his crime here. His fate is for our king to decide. You're the most powerful people in Westeros.
Pick one.
Choose one.
John. I choose John.
My lords and ladies, a veteran of 2 wars, and I like to think my experience has led to some small skill.
No. No. It's not gonna be you. Sit down.
Please sit.
Yeah, it's not you. So sorry. I mean, it was a good try. We all love you, but like...
Maybe the decision about what's best for everyone should be left to everyone.
A democracy. There's an idea. I was like, okay, I'm ahead
Sit
of
down,
my time
Sam.
here.
Sit down, Sam.
Little ahead of my time here. It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
There's nothing in the world more powerful than a good story. And who has a better story than Bran the Broken? The boy who fell from a high tower and lived and became the three-eyed raven. He is our memory. Who better to lead us into the future? If we choose you, will you wear the crown?
Why do you think I came all this way?
Brandon of House Stark. I say aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All hail Bran the Broken, first of his name, Lord of the Six Kingdoms, Protector of the realm.
And to say I didn't see that coming is an understatement.
Letting you walk free would start a war. So our new king has chosen to send you to the Night's Watch.
Oh.
There's still a Night's Watch. The world will always need a home for bastards and broken men.
What? This is the king!
The Unsullied wanted your head, of course. But Greywind has accepted the justice of a life sentence.
He's the king, though.
But they broke the wheel.
I know, but like, god damn. He's getting fucked in this scenario. He's the only one who did the right thing.
Tyrion's like, remember how I made you go kill Dany? Yeah, now you're going to the wall and I'm handed the key. like
we're back to season, 4, where this happened for the first time? 3?
I don't expect we'll ever see each other again. A few years as Hand of the King would make anyone want to piss off the edge of the world.
Wow.
Mi validis valoko. Sis. Suliva vajo nath.
He's gonna go to North! Like he promised for Sunday. What a sweetheart.
I wish there'd been another way. Can you forgive me?
The North is free, thanks to you.
Oh.
You can come see me, you know, at Castle Black.
I'm not going back north. What's west of Westeros? It's where all the maps stop. That's where I'm going.
You have your needle.
Right here.
He does not deserve this. He did the right thing, and he's the only one that gets punished.
He just pushed them all in.
I tried to make it nice for you guys.
A Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh.
Mr. Ebro's history of the wars following the death of King Robert. I don't believe you're mentioned.
Oh. Cool. It's perfect. I was just an integral part of this story, but that's fine. Look at this table of advisors.
And Drogon? Any word?
He was last spotted flying east to
Farther away, the better.
Perhaps I can find him.
Yeah, I think You can, probably.
Sir Podrick.
Sir Podrick!
I once brought a jackass and a honeycomb into a brothel.
We never get to know what that is. Stop. Ghosty gets his pets. Oh, honey. Oh. I feel like I didn't say a word the whole episode because I was just taking it in.
There you have it.
I can't. Yeah, it's a lot. It's just a lot to take in. Like, it's a lot to be like, that was the end.
Right? It's like, you expect there to be more.
It feels like there's going to be more.
Well, and they leave it open-ended in Game of Thrones fashion. John is going up beyond the wall. There's
all of them are
so much more
new storylines.
This new table
Arya's going, like, who the fuck knows where.
Can we get Arya the Explorer, please? Like,
and then Sansa's queen now, which is like, that's nice. You know what I mean? Like, Arya's always been...
The Starks made it out.
Arya's always been, like, a singular type of character where she wants to be doing her thing, whatever. Like, her going off and being an explorer makes a lot of sense. She sailed to Bravos by herself. She's done her entire storyline by herself or with the Hound, which is essentially by herself.
Right.
And Sansa is queen, which is season 1. Homegirl wants to be queen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like buttoning that up in a nice way.
But to be able to become queen without having to marry somebody.
Right.
And without...
She is queen without a husband.
Mm-hmm.
She is the queen in the north. She's the queen the right way. Jon is returning back to the Night's Watch. That kind of does make me a little upset.
Does
like,
it?
It doesn't make me upset because I'm happy that he's with Tormund and he's with all the wildlings and he's going and doing whatever it is that they're doing, which is nice. But it's characters sometimes like I feel the same way about Jon, kind of that I do about Dany, where I'm just like, darn it. Like, I just feel like you guys had a lot more in ya. Like, Jon's getting that's where his story ends, is he's just back with the Night's Watch. Like, he's the fucking Aegon Targaryen.
Mhm.
And this is where but I guess it makes sense, because he's like, I don't want it. I don't want to be the king. Whatever. But it's like, damn, for the guy that did the most in the entire series to end that way is
To
kind
just
of
end
just
up
like,
where he started.
literally. It's just kind of like
Full circle in like a sad way.
full circle in like a we didn't get anywhere way. Like, we walked in a circle and we arrived at the same place.
I do agree that I feel like, though, it almost feels like his heritage was a bigger deal for the audience than it was for like any of the people in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like for us, it was like a huge thing.
I feel like when they're sitting there discussing, like, oh, who should be king? Like, shouldn't Jon be the first name being thrown out? Nobody even mentioned him.
It's because
he's a
Grey
prisoner,
Worm,
and I
yeah.
know. But, like, Grey Worm was Dany's person. Dany's dead. Like, why does Grey Worm even... I mean, I love Grey Worm. I love Grey Worm. I love that whole branch of people. But it's like, if we're sitting here making a decision on who's going to be king, maybe the person who's, like, the most loyal to the queen, who was just murdered because she massacred an entire city, shouldn't be given such a big say in who's going to be elected.
Well, and it's like Tyrion's like, you get to choose. You are the king. Jon does what he says. A couple weeks later, Tyrion's like, so Bran!
So I've been thinking...
like, wait,
I think Bran... And, like, I get why you choose Bran. I get it. He seems like he's going to be the most well-informed decision maker for an entire kingdom of people. But, like, the whole storyline was Jon is actually the claim to the throne versus Dany. We're all trying to convince Jon, please take the throne. You're the rightful heir. We all support you. Dany's going a little crazy. We're, like, not really on her side anymore. Dany finally dies, and people don't even discuss Jon being the ruler. It's not even mentioned. Like, you're lucky because you get to not die and go to the Night's Watch. Like, who's sentencing him to die? Dany's dead.
Right.
Who's punishing him? Grey Worm?
Well, and the thing about it, it's like, Grey Worm is the main reason why Jon's getting sent to the wall. Grey Worm is sailing to Noth.
Why does Grey Worm even fucking care?
But he's also leaving, so will he know?
But also,
if you don't send Jon to the wall?
In any other kingdom, right? Like, this is your leader of your army. That person would be, like, exiled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not... Why is... This is, like, separate from my love for Grey Worm. It just, like, logistically doesn't make a lot of sense. Because I feel like usually a ruler gets overturned, the person who's their right-hand man isn't just, like, cool anyways. You know what I mean? Like, they're a team. They get overturned together.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Grey Worm not only not incur any of this, like, punishment for... We're all mad at Dany for what she did. Grey Worm went right with her. He was the only other person that wanted to, like, or I don't know what he wanted to do, but he's the only person that actively attacked the city when Dany decided to do that. Like, Jon didn't attack the city. Nobody else actively attacked the city except for Grey Worm and his army. So it's like, if we're mad at Dany for what she did, why are we not mad at Grey Worm? And beyond not being mad at Grey Worm, why are we letting him make the decision on what happens to Jon?
Only for him to immediately leave and never come back. Like, so Grey Worm's sailing to Noth and not coming back.
So you don't even give a fuck what happens in Westeros.
So Jon, just stay where you're at. Like, Grey Worm's leaving.
Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like Jon should have ended up the king. But maybe that was just too obvious from, like, a writing standpoint. I don't know.
And it is just very out of character for him to accept it.
It is, but for where we're at, it's like everybody wants you to... I mean, he accepted King in the North despite the fact that he didn't want it, you know? It just feels sad to me that, like, at this table, everybody else has a place. Sam is there, Brienne's there, Bronn is there. Like, we've all... Tyrion is there. Like, we're all here. We've all found our place in this new kingdom. The only person who has to leave and be punished is Jon, who's the only one who's done the right thing time and time again from day one. And he's the one getting punished. I mean, he's really, like, a martyr. Like, his whole character is just, like, suffering for the cause.
I agree with all of your points, but I will say it also brings me comfort. It's a comfort to know.
It's a comfort to know.
It brings me comfort to know that the happiest that character ever was Beyond the Wall. And so the idea of him going back to that does make me feel like, though I agree with everything you're saying, trying to find another perspective, I'm like, well, at least he gets to go be with the people that he actually loves and actually cares about and has a real connection with, and has like, he was a wildling at heart for so long.
I agree. I just feel like I would rather him choose that than be sentenced to that.
True, yeah.
You know? And, like, he could have gone back to the wall and the wildlings weren't there. Like, I thought they were already gone. I thought he was going to show up to the wall and it be, like, the wall, where there's, like, 10 other people there and he has to just, like, fuck around forever. You know what I mean? Like, it's lucky that the wildlings were there. And I love Tormund, and I love that they're going to, like, be together. And Ghost got his pets, which is great. But I just don't like the, like, no matter what he was sentenced to, I don't like that Jon is the one getting the punishment for this.
Yeah.
I mean, he did kill Dany. But, like, everybody wanted Dany dead at that point.
Besides me.
The cast. I mean, the characters all were, like, over it with Dany, besides Grey Worm. So, I don't know. It just felt a little icky for me. The rest of the characters I really like where they're ending up at.
So it's like back to that interview where Maisie Williams and Sophie Turner, the interviewer's like, what are people going to think of this final season? And they both go, some are going to love it. Some not so much. And it's like, yeah, their characters made great endings. Sansa gets to be queen. Arya gets to sail. One of the best scenes of Arya is at the end of season 4 when she's sailing to Braavos.
Yeah, and this is
so like
a
the
reiteration
full circle of that moment.
Sam gets to be the Maester.
The Maester he always wanted to be.
Bronn gets his Highgarden.
Pod's a Sir.
I mean, yeah. Which makes it even more sad for me, in a way, about Jon, where it's like, everybody got their happy ending, except for Jon.
And Dany.
And Dany
like, our
dead.
two main characters
didn't
shit
get
endings.
their happy ending. Yeah.
Shit endings.
Everybody else did. So that's, I think, what's, like, a little irksome, is just that I'm like, everybody else got their riding off into the sunset. And then the people who deserved it the most did not get it. Which is so Game of Thrones, I guess. But, woo!
What a final episode. Like, just, I do love getting to see even just a glimpse of every cast member, you know? It's, like, cringy and weird, but, like, getting to see Robin, it's so, like, oh, Robin Aaron! Like,
yeah, at least they, like, addressed
and Yara,
that.
Like, I don't know where you were for the Battle of Winterfell, and I don't know where you were for the Battle of King's
Landing.
Landing.
Yeah, why were you not helping?
Like, glad to see you back, sis. Theon died.
Theon died. Can we get a reaction to that?
I don't know if you know that, Yaga.
Yaga.
I don't know if you know that. And then also, I do really, really love, like, I'm probably was bawling my eyes out. I'll have to go back and watch it. But when Brienne gets to
write the history of Jaime, yes.
And then
I
ends
forgot
it
to write
with
that down.
Died protecting his queen. Like,
yes. I mean, she really didn't have to do that. She honored him.
She loved him.
She really made sure that, like, the history books knew the good, which is so Brienne of her. We love that. She is nothing if not, to her core, entirely honorable and just and good. I mean, she's the epitome of the good guy in this show, which is so kind of random for it to be Brienne. You know what I mean? Like, you think of, like, the main characters and she's not necessarily one of them, but she really is, like, the good guy. Like,
good people aren't exciting enough to be main characters.
She doesn't do anything wrong. She just does the good thing, despite the fact that Jaime broke her fucking heart, insulted her,
left her outside in the freezing cold in the house robe.
In the middle of the night after taking her virginity, like, just absolutely shit on her whole life when she could have had a nice little time with Tormund, but she chose Jaime. She still, like, was like, no, we're gonna make sure that history remembers him as, like, a good, honorable man who did, like, his job.
Well, and just, like, the way his page did end, which is, like, killed his king, was here on out known as the Kingslayer. That is not Jaime's character. And, like, I just love these really characters so much and so deeply that, like, I just get so emotional when you see them, and when Arya is, like, saying goodbye and Jon's like, you got your needle? She's like, right here. It's like...
Yeah. No,
like,
all of their little goodbyes, all of their little, like, wrapping up their characters.
These characters feel so real to me, and I love them just so much.
Yeah. And even Grey Worm, like, going back to Noth and, like, honoring that promise that he made to Missandei despite the fact that she's not there. Like, I love all of them. I'm happy for almost all of them. I mean, I'm happy for all of them, but I'm a little, like, chip on my shoulder about John. But I'm happy. I think everybody ended in a good spot.
What I love the scene where Sansa's like, will you forgive me? And he's just like, so you get to be queen? Like, he doesn't answer. He's kind of low-key like, no, but you're queen.
No. Anyways, congratulations
just like,
on your
no,
success.
you actually fucked a lot of shit up, Sansa. Like, by you
Sansa, you
running
kind of
your mouth,
were a thorn in my side.
You kind of fucked everything up.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
But it's fine. Sansa was just doing her Sansa thing.
Sansa was just protecting her family. At the end of the day, that's all these characters are doing, is protecting their
They're all
people.
doing what they think is the right thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that so many of them ended up on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
I did think it was a little funny when Edmure stood up and Sansa's like, sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down,
It's not
please.
you.
What about when Sam tried to pitch democracy?
Sam's ahead of his time. Sam is way ahead of his time. He's too smart for these people. Democracy,
They were all like,
they're like,
no.
we're not doing that. But they kind of landed on democracy. I mean, they landed on an
democracy
elected
amongst
leader.
12 people.
Which is kind of, I mean, that's kind of what we do
It's
now.
better than heritage, just choosing the...
They're doing a small electoral college.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're getting there. They made a step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just too ahead of his time. I think I was prepared to, like, hate this season. You know what I mean? And I don't think I, like, hated this season.
Good.
I think they did, like... I think the only thing that's frustrating is, like, knowing that they could have done more and they didn't. But if I put myself in a mind where it's like they were given 6 episodes and this is what they did with it, I wouldn't be upset at that. Like, I think they accomplished the goal of, like, finishing the story as well as they could. Nobody's ever going to be happy with how a show ends or how a story ends. There's always people that are going to be upset with the way characters, like, storylines are finished up. So I think they did, like, a pretty good job of giving everybody, like, a nice ending and kind of tying that all up well. I just... 7 and 8 felt like it could have taken longer to get there and, like, been a little bit more emotionally invested and, like, a little bit more fleshed out. But I was expecting to be, like, really angry at what happened to people. And I'm not, like, really angry, you know?
Well, I think also the acting is a very important factor in this, because I think that where the writing may lack, the acting is incredible.
Yeah, the actors
So
make
for an
up
example, one thing that I think of is the scene where Tyrion finds Cersei and Jaime in the very beginning. The grand scheme, I feel like the writing feels lackluster, because I wouldn't have liked to see Jaime die that way, and I didn't want to see Cersei die that way, and Tyrion finding them feels like... the writing in that sense feels... But then the moment he starts crying and breaking down and Peter Dinklage starts acting, I accept the scene. I accept the scene. I accept what's happening. It's like one of those moments where it's like the writing's bad until the actor starts acting, and then you're just like, whatever is happening you submit to, because they're so good. And they just give such great performances.
Kind of about everybody is that it's like, it's not how I expected it to end. Any of the storylines, not how I expected it to end, but I think they all did a good job with what there was. Like, the material that was there was presented in a very good way, you know? The acting was good. I think the directing was good. I think the scenes looked nice. They were told as well as they could be, but, like, it just, like, they could have just done with more time, you know, and a little bit more, like, in-depth explanation of everything. Like, even in the last episode where they're like, Jon kills Dany, and then in the next scene, like, time has passed, we're picking a new leader. Like, it feels like there could have been an entire episode in that time that they skipped, you know? So stuff like that I could see how that's frustrating.
One of my favorite shots in this whole series is when Dany is walking and the wings
Yes, I looked at you when that happened. I was like, oh,
It's a gorgeous
it's like
shot.
her wings.
She is a
She's
dragon.
the dragon.
She
yeah.
is a dragon, and I just think it's such a beautiful,
and it almost
symbolical
like
shot.
paints that callback of like be a dragon
Mhm.
because it's like, well, I mean, you can't say she was not being.
You can't
the
say
dragon.
she didn't do exactly what we told her to do 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, like her goal was to sit on the fucking
when
Iron
she
Throne.
sailed to Westeros, you and I looked at each other and said, "Oh, Cersei, she's coming to fuck your shit up."
And she did fuck.
And she did
their
exactly
shit up.
what we said.
It's just harder when it's happening to not have sympathy for all of the casualties involved. But like ultimately, she never wavered on what she was gonna do. She said this was what she was gonna do. She did it.
And I love that line from Tyrion where he's like, "Everywhere she goes, evil men die, and we cheer her for it."
Mm-hmm.
The characters in the show and us as
Yeah.
the audience, we have done nothing this whole time but cheer for her
on.
every time
Yeah.
she says the word Dracarys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just now because
it's characters we know in a place that we recognize, and it feels very sad because this is the city where all of the characters are, and
Mhm.
it's like so much has happened here. To see it be leveled is we're more emotionally invested in it. But I mean, I don't think she should have done it, but I get, that's what she came to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was angry. I mean, she got fucked over. She got decimated in a way that she was not expecting to be. So I understand her anger, and like, I wish she hadn't done that, but like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not out of the realm of possibility that when everything in your life is going to shambles like that you just see red and you just say, fuck everybody.
Right.
Like, I'm burning it to the ground.
Which is
like,
my argument of, I don't feel like, I love the idea of Mad Queen. I don't feel like that was a justifiable excuse for Mad Queen.
Yeah.
You took everything from her. She, like
Well,
any
and
other
even
person, saw red.
Standing there with Jon, she still was talking about, like, creating a world of, like, peace.
Mhm.
And she's like, it's hard to see something that's never existed. Like, I still, in that moment, believed that she believed that that's what she was creating. So, I don't think that she didn't go crazy. Like, she wasn't insane. She wasn't like, fuck everybody around me, fuck everybody that helped me, burn everything to the... You know what I mean? Like, I think that she was pushed to that point. So, I don't think she went mad, but I think she lost touch with, reality
Who she
in
was.
moments where she was, like, pushed so far that she didn't see the big picture anymore. Like, I think there were moments where she decided to do things in the heat of what she was feeling. But I don't think, like, as a character that she lost everything that she was trying to do. You know what
it's
I mean?
easy to lose sight of who you are or who you were when everyone that was with you during that time is gone.
Yeah.
It's even easier to forget about your history because now you're just staring at new faces in a new place with a bunch of new shit, and all of it feels foreign to you. All of it feels...
And nobody's accepting you the way that they were.
No one's really embraced you the way that you were expecting. She was told since she was a little girl that people were flying secret banners for her health and praying for her return. So for her to get there...
the people cry out for their true queen.
Like, and then that's not the reality. I get where she's like...
She's like, I thought I was going to swoop in and people were going to be very happy that I was here.
Yeah, I thought you were all dying under Cersei in the way that you would have immediately...
And I think, like, if things had gone differently, I wouldn't even be mad at her for what she did. I think the only reason that I get upset at what she did is that the people were ready to just be like, we're not fighting for... We don't care to fight
So
for
you're saying,
Cersei.
like, if the bells weren't rang...
Yeah.
All hell break loose? type
Yeah,
of thing?
because then at least it's justified. Like, to me, the only part that sucks is that the people didn't want to fight her and said that. They were like, we're good. Like, we don't need to defend Cersei like this. Like, we're not, like, loyal to her in that way. And she was just so mad that she did it anyways. That's the only real gripe I have with Dany. I think the rest of it I understand.
Well, I appreciate that because I was very afraid that you were going to hate her. She was dealt a very poor hand very quickly and reacted in what I would consider a pretty normal reaction.
I think there were definitely, like, there was moments where I was like, fuck Dany. Like, but yeah, stepping back
Dany's
and, like...
different than, like, I no longer like
yeah.
her.
Like, stepping back, for her whole, like, beginning to end storyline, I understand what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not Danny's the worst character ever. It's just like, damn, I wish that had gone, like, slightly
a little differently.
Yeah.
I love the scene where she's walking inside the Iron Throne room. And it's just so symbolic of the vision that she had in season 2. We find out, oh, that's not Snow. That's Ash.
That is Ash, yeah.
To see her actually touch. So I don't know if you remember the vision. But in the vision, she walks into the throne room, reaches for the throne, is about to touch it.
Yeah, and can't.
And then her dragon calls for her. So she turns.
Yeah.
And then goes into another room, and it's Khal Drogo and her baby.
No, I remember.
So the way I interpret that vision is she reaches the Iron Throne. And this is the way I always interpreted it, even prior to the season. I think Dany's going to reach the Iron Throne, is going to die, and live out the rest of her days in the Nightlands with Khal Drogo. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. She reached the Iron Throne, immediately died. Drogon flew her away. And in my mind, that's her riding into the Nightlands.
And good. She gets to be at peace. Like,
so I just feel like that vision was... When you really look at that vision, it told you right away
like
she was going to die
happen,
immediately after she reached that throne.
I think when I saw the vision, I thought, like... The way I interpreted it was, like, she will always, like, choose the people that she cares for, and, like, her babies being the dragons, like, and
over the throne.
Khal Drogo being, like, the person that she loves, and, like, her baby with Khal Drogo being, like, the thing that she wanted the most in the world, like, that she would always pick that over the throne. So I, like, interpreted it a little bit more as, like, she was choosing to walk away from the throne because she cared more about her, like, love for these beings. But, yeah, it definitely could be interpreted
once you relook at it, now knowing what you know, it hits the nail on the coffin, basically. Yeah. It's like, oh, it was literally...
She's never going to sit on this
It was
throne.
right away. We were told she's going to reach it and is going to die.
It's not going to work, yeah.
So, I do love that callback because I just think that when you think about moments like that, it's like, again, with the Hodor or different things where it's like, that was foreshadowed so long ago for it to pay off.
If you read into it the right way, you would know.
You would know, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you never really know.
Right.
You can only interpret it the way you interpret it.
All right.
That was it.
That was the end of Game of Thrones. I want to hear just like a series review. Let me just take like 2 minutes real quick. Give me your top like 5
oh my God.
moments / characters in this whole series.
That's a lot. That's like a lot to ask.
I mean, I could do it.
You've seen the series like 6 times.
I could have done it after 1.
Great. I mean, so like as a series, obviously we already talked about this like beforehand. Like this is by far writing wise, production value wise, like I mean this is the best scripted series I've ever seen. It's amazing. So it's hard to even like be like pick your 5. But like first season, you're dipping your toe in the water. Ned losing his head is your first like Game of Thrones. Welcome to what we're doing. And like I didn't read the books. So this it
was all a surprise for you.
Slapped me in the face.
Yeah.
So like I think that was definitely the first like big shot to me as an audience member being like, I don't know what the fuck is happening in this show. I think I would say like the entire character arc of Theon was one of my
highlights.
Favorite things about this show. I think that was one thing that the writers got right. 100%. I have no notes on Theon's character arc. Like, that was just such a journey. You go from, like, hating him so bad to being, like, so worried and scared for him. And then you give up on him as a character. You just are like, okay, he's just never going to be a person again. Like, this is it. And then for him to, like, claw his way out of that and have this, like, noble death, like, that was beautiful. We love that. So that's, like, definitely, as far as one of my, like, most poignant things, that whole character arc.
What you really took away.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing storytelling. I want to say, like, all of, like, the story of Cersei's children is a big one. I think...
You mean in terms of, like...
Like, the way that her children were doomed to death from their birth. You know what I mean? Like, the way that none of them had a chance. Joffrey, obviously, as a character, his death is, like, such a celebration. But if you look at her as a character and her children and the way that they all, in a way, were, like, destined to die because of what this, you know, character in this family does, that was all very poignant. I mean, Joffrey's was a celebration. Tommen's was shocking, though. I mean, one of the most shocking moments of the entire series for me. Like, and if you go back and watch that video,
most of us
I
would
was
agree.
like,
I
like,
think most of us would agree. Tommen jumping from the window in King's Landing, literally.
Yeah.
It's an insane moment.
It kind of, like, shakes you and recenters you to, like, whatever you thought was happening in the show, you were wrong. You think a character is safe because nobody's directly threatening them. Tommen took his own life.
Tommen took his own life.
Yeah. Like, there was no...
Which is just one of the saddest ways a person to die.
It doesn't matter. If you think that they're safe, it does not mean they're safe. Sometimes inside their own head, they're not safe. So that was a really big one for me. Just as a moment, Arya killing the Night King was like... And that's fresh in my brain, but that was one that's like... still just makes me excited to think about it. And we don't get a lot of those, like, victorious moments in Game of Thrones, so that was a really, 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 really good
Arya
one.
has two great surprise deaths. Night King and Walder Frey.
Yes.
Walder Frey.
I think Arya as a character, they just
and it's
nailed
poignant
it.
because Arya is George R.R. Martin's wife's favorite character.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that her character is just so fucking well written.
Such a badass.
Because
Yeah.
it's his wife's favorite character.
Mm-hmm. I also think, like, one of my favorite things about this show is the interactions with, like, non-combat characters. Like, I think all of the amazing conversations that we get between Baelish and Varys, or Tyrion and Cersei, like, non-combat characters that have these moments
are what
like,
make this show the best.
Yes. It's not the battle scenes. It's not the fights. It's not the threats. It's the people behind the scenes that are the scariest.
The stripped down, raw conversational moments you get between intense characters.
Yeah.
And the Varys Littlefinger ones, even way back in the beginning, were so good. Unreal combos.
Those were always my favorite.
They were always
scenes.
like sparring back and forth with each. I love when he would say something. He's like, "Oh, was that you hiding under the bed?" Like,
yeah, like they had this, like,
dynamic.
We both know, but we're not gonna say the whole truth of what we're saying right now.
Right.
And those types of characters are, I mean, it's in the writing.
Right.
Like, the writing, you just don't come by that in most shows. So that was, like, a highlight of the entire series, was those types of conversations where we get two big players in a room together having a one-on-one conversation where nobody's really, like, their lives are not threatened. They're just
chilling.
Having this, like, mental
I don't know if you remember it, but one of my favorite scenes in what you're describing is the conversation in season 1, a long time ago, open that archive, between Cersei and Robert Baratheon, where they are discussing their marriage. And discussing,
I do remember.
It's just, I'm getting chills. Look at my freaking scales on my arms. I'm a lizard.
Bumps.
It's just one of the most amazing scenes where you see these two characters being so real and raw, and it's like pages of dialogue, like pages, and it's just like these actors giving these monologues. And I say it all the time as somebody who grew up acting and who grew up heavily involved in that form of art. I have no other reaction other than just to be floored by it. Just the way they speak in the show, it's so well thought out. You can tell these actors read their scripts and then really
they are, like,
thought,
masters.
how would this person say it?
Yeah.
And I love that scene between Cersei and Robert.
Yeah. And I also think, on the other flip side of that, we've said it a few times, the way that this show does battle scenes and makes it digestible and understandable and emotional for a viewer that might not be inclined to be invested in a battle scene, like myself. Like, I am not into a war movie. I am not into, like, a let's watch people murder each other for an hour. This show always does such an incredible job with battle scenes in a way that makes you, like, not feel like, oh, this is gore porn.
Right.
It's just
There's
like
a story in it.
they are telling a story through a battle. They don't waste 1 second of their episode. They make sure everything that's happening is telling a story. So I really enjoy all of the major battle scenes. I thought were like some of my favorite episodes, which is not what I would have predicted.
Battle of Blackwater, Battle of Bastards.
Mhm.
I mean, probably not the bells.
Not the bells.
But the Long Night.
Yes, The Long Night was, I thought, one of the best
What about
episodes.
the Battle of Hardhome, where John tries to go get all the
Yeah.
wildlings and then
Yes.
they all show up? The
Mhm.
Battle of the Wall
Yeah.
with Egret.
They do battles in a very, very, very specific way that I haven't seen before that I really enjoy. You can see the hard work that
When
goes
Sir
into
Alistair's
it.
like, hold the gate!
Getting dragged back. And yes, I mean, these are just like, it's stunning.
Mhm.
Stunning. And then I think the only other thing is, you know, a very obvious point for Game of Thrones, but like the way that they make you as an audience feel unsafe in the way that they treat the characters. Like,
Yeah.
you aren't, if you are happy with what's going on with the character, that's a bad sign.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, the way that they really illustrate the point of, like, you are not safe. There are no winners. Like, this isn't gonna end how you think it's gonna end. And, like, the Red Wedding, of course, is, like, the prime example of that, where it's just, like, you spend a lot of time gearing up to be like, okay, these are the good guys. We've found the good guys again. I know who I'm rooting for again. And then for them to just be like leveled, all of them, all at once. As a show, they do that so many times to be like, you thought this person was safe, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
You thought this was going to happen, it's not.
Right.
Yeah. So I think one of those shows that just like keeps you on your toes, flips it upside down. I was never ready for what was coming. And that keeps me very entertained. It was very good writing.
Oh. Well, guys.
Oh.
That is the end of Game of Thrones for us. That is the end of the Game of Thrones reaction. I hope you enjoyed this journey. I hope you enjoyed everything that Addie and I have brought into this experience. If you've been with us since day one, thank you for sticking with us. If you came along the way, I'm so happy you decided to join. I hope all of you stick around for more reactions from Dan and Addie to come. We'd obviously have House of the Dragon.
Prequel.
We got the Lord of the Rings show coming out later in the
Yes.
fall. Really exciting stuff for that. So, you know, just don't leave us.
Stick around.
If you came for Game of Thrones, I respect that, but stay for us.
Stick around a while.
Stick around a little
Take
bit
a
longer.
seat, grab a drink, hang out.
Do you have any final thoughts?
I mean, I just have completely fallen in love with this show, and I'm so glad to have seen it. I don't know what I'm gonna do going forward. There's still like a piece of me that's like feels like there's more.
Right.
You know?
Alright guys, well, that's gonna conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed this journey with you.
Yeah.
We hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in the next video. I didn't want to end it.
I don't want to end it.
Let's just stay here for another
Should
hour.
we? Was there a quote that we can end with?
And now our watch has ended.
Oh my gosh. Obviously. Okay. Let's say that together.
And now our watch has ended.